Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the stepson of Krypton,
And I am Mantis.
and today we are talking about Batman, Uncertain and the Old. We're not going to waste any time. Let's just jump right on into it, Mantis. I see you look confused. Too bad. We're going. All right, guys, if you notice, we said Uncertain and the Old. That is because there's been a lot of Batman news lately, and what it seems like is they're very uncertain, and we're going to go with an old Batman. So, hence the title.
No one sprained any muscles there.
Because we know, as of right now, that Robert Pattinson has been confirmed in an article. I say confirmed, it's not 100%, but in this article, they do state that Robert Pattinson's Batman is not joining the DCU. However, there's been discussions about what is going to happen with the Batman. We know we've seen him in an episode of Creature Commandos. Mantis, are you caught up on Creature Commandos?
I'm not, but I did see that he appeared in episode 6. So
Yes. So, got a lot of people excited because it had a lot of vibes of the original animated series Batman. So it was making people feel that James Gunn kind of understood the direction people kind of want to see Batman go. However, it raises a lot of questions. We know that the Matt Reeves Batman in the Elseworlds timeline with Robert Pattinson has been pushed back to 2027. Okay, which is going to be a 5-year gap in between the original the Batman coming out and the Batman, the whatever the sequel is going to call
sequel.
The Batman sequel. The Brave and the Bold is the DCU's
DCU.
Batman, and this one is just the Batman.
The Batman sequel.
I'm the Batman. You're Batman. Okay, I don't mean to be Sean Parker here, but you can drop the. Nobody wants to go to the Facebook.
You know, we're expecting that the Penguin is going to make his debut from obviously he was briefly in the first movie, and then of course we had the Penguin series, which was amazing. Go watch it if you have not checked it out. But the buildup was basically to be he is going to be the main villain in the second Batman movie. Mantis, what are your thoughts? Do you think this Batman movie is going to happen?
There's a lot of people that say it's not. However, as you mentioned in this article that Muschietti.
So real quick, I did not mention it in the article. Somebody else did.
Well, no, I mean you mentioned that the article about it being.
You said you mentioned it in this article. I didn't actually. I was not the person who spoke in the article.
Yes.
Just so
the article
nobody,
you mentioned.
Nobody can claim that I said that I did this article. No, I didn't.
Yeah. The article that you mentioned, Andy Muschietti said, the film's pushed back a year as we had been previously reported like last month or whatever. But it's slated for the October 1st, 2027 release. But Matt Reeves did confirm that it will start shooting this year. So I don't. If it gets pushed back again, then something drastically has changed. Because if they've already scheduled shooting. That means that the script has been approved by James Gunn. We talked about this previously, where if the script isn't good, he doesn't send it, and they don't shoot. It has to go past him for that. So at this point, I would assume that maybe something previously had changed, and this is where when you talk about Penguin, and this is what I think. We talked about this, I think, in our wrap-up video of the Penguin, where it seemed like at the very end of that episode, you saw the bat signal, right? I assumed, I think we both did, that it was going to pick up right. That was ending as the Batman sequel would be starting. However, now what I think is possibly two things. One, well, I think they're definitely going to do a Penguin season 2. Obviously, the first season did so well. I think they're going to do a season 2 because of that. And maybe they'd previously written that it would start the sequel, the Batman sequel would pick off right there. But because of the success of the Penguin, they wanted to kind of flesh out his character a little more, maybe through another season, maybe even bring in Robert Pattinson a little bit into that second season of the Penguin. Not saying he has to star in it or anything, just saying he may show up at some point. And at the end of that, maybe that's where the writing, the script had changed. Where at the end of that season is where they're going to pick up the Batman sequel, the movie. So I think that's probably what occurred. I'm just maybe that's what I'm guessing. I kind of agree here that you don't want to rush it. And again, I just assume that hopefully the Elseworlds directors and stuff are following kind of James Gunn's approach on approving scripts. I mentioned that earlier. I know James Gunn has nothing to do with the Elseworlds, so him approving these scripts, he's not even looking at those. It's Muschietti, obviously. I don't know, or not Muschietti, Matt Reeves. Sorry, Muschietti's doing Brave and the Bold. Two different universes directors there.
See how confusing it's already getting.
I know. But I think that's probably what occurred. I think things had changed because of initial success of the Penguin series. I think that's what pushed this all back. And you're right. Who knows? Maybe they do end up just canon.
This is never easy, but I'm shit canning you.
Or not canon, but cutting the rest of the Batman Elseworlds
shit
movies.
canning the other Batman.
Yeah, shit canning. Yes.
Well, so here's the funny thing about that. I feel like initially when we had done the Penguin wrap up, we said there's not going to probably be a second season because at the time, and I think even still, it's listed as a mini series. And we're like, okay, it's going to launch into the sequel of Batman, and Penguin's going to be the big villain of Batman 2, but we already got his backstory, so we don't need that, right? Now I feel kind of like, and just this is personal opinion, just speaking out my ass here, but I feel like we may get a Penguin season 2, but they're going to shit can the Batman 2 because they're like, you know what? Like, if it's already pushed back to 2027, we're going to be 2 years plus into the DCU. Just like we've been doing here, okay? Both of us in this video alone have already gotten confused with the Batman, right? Which one's which, right? Now imagine having 2 running concurrent Batman movies. It's going to be too confusing for people. I feel like they're like, okay, we could do a Batman. It's not gotten great, like reception. Like, oh my God, we're so excited for the next Robert Pattinson Batman, but Penguin did well. I think they're going to cut their losses and say, you know what, we'll do a Penguin season 2 instead of a Batman 2, right? Because Penguin was super successful. The Batman was, to quote Mantis. And like, we don't know if the second one's going to work, okay? We already saw in the Elseworlds timeline, the second Joker did not work, right? You had fire on the first one. You screwed it up on the second one. There's a good chance Batman goes the same way. And if you do that, then you screw up any chance of having a Penguin season 2. And you already know that's successful.
I don't even look at the Joker 2, Folie à Deux. To me, that was sabotaged, quite frankly. I think they killed that film on purpose, quite frankly. It was such a drastic change from the first one that I think they did it on purpose. But anyway, you're right. I mean, 5 years is a long time between films. I mean, especially from the first film to the second to a sequel. Normally, you want to get the sequel out within 2 years. It needs to be right after, right? Between your second and your third is where you can kind of stretch it out. Like Thor, The Dark World, and Ragnarok had 5 years in there. I think. I don't know what Iron Man 2 to 3 was. But
Iron Man was real quick. It was I think in the 2 to 2.5 year realm. But you also got to remember,
you're right.
During that time, Avengers movies were coming out and things, so it wasn't like you just weren't seeing the character. You didn't see the solo film.
True. Yeah. It's a long time between movies for if you're trying to get a movie to kind of take hold. Especially a sequel, you want it to be better and build from the first one. But then again, who knows, man? Like I said, maybe in this case they're trying to build off of the series, and like you said, that mini series, maybe that's there in between. I know he wasn't in the first season, but maybe they put him in the second one as a more, in several episodes. Who knows?
I don't know. So after the hype of people seeing Batman and kind of just technically, to be fair, he comes in 2 episodes in Creature Commandos because he's in episode 4, but we only see still like dream images, right? They're still images, but we see Batman. We also saw Superman in that episode in 4, where we see the symbol, right? So we know it's got the new Kingdom Come, but just in the different colors, like what we know David Cornsweat's Superman suit's going to look like, right? So we got to see those, and then obviously we see him in episode 6. So people are kind of getting excited about this. I don't feel like if you want to build excitement for your Batman Brave and the Bold, you don't want to have another Batman out there. I feel, personal opinion, they're going to end up shit canning that Batman. That's just me. They pushed it off to avoid PR issues until after Superman releases, and we get some things going there. Could be wrong. I'm not saying that's fact. I'm just saying personal opinion. Hate on me if you want to.
If they don't, it's going to be a long time before you see the Brave and the Bold. Because I agree with you. I think it's stupid to have 2 concurrent Batmans out there within a couple years. It's dumb. It's a bad.
Well, especially they'd be releasing similar times, right? You're not going to have 2 Batman movies released in the same year. That's fucking insane.
So I got 2 words to describe that idea: insane.
To do.
Yeah.
Especially since you're doing 2 different directions, because the next part of that is where we say the uncertain and the old is that it's rumored that the Batman that they're planning for, and we've done a video on this previously, but this is kind of new news as far as they're reconfirming that the Batman in Brave and Bold is going to be older, right? Where, we had talked about before in the previous video that, when we think about Superman and all of the different iterations throughout comic, throughout, animated, throughout movie, like when we see him joining the Justice League, like everybody's been in their positions a while and then they form the Justice League. Well, we know with the Superman movie, we are getting dropped into a universe already in progress. We got the Green Lantern Corps, and not only do we have the Green Lantern Corps, it's not like we just have Hal Jordan. We already got Guy Gardner, so we already went through Hal Jordan, we already went through John Stewart, we're getting Guy Gardner, right? We're getting all of these characters, which means Superman's been Superman for a while, which would also then mean Batman has been Batman for even longer. Kind of like we saw in the Snyderverse in Batman v Superman. He'd already been Batman for 20 years.
Yeah.
The other portion to that is because we're getting dropped into a universe already in progress, we don't know how long Superman's been Superman or how long he's been on Earth. Maybe he's been on Earth a lot longer than the average. Usually we think, okay, he's in his 20s. In his late teens, he gets the crystal, he goes, he makes the fortress, he does his training, blah, blah, blah. He goes, gets, his education, goes to the Daily Planet. He's in his 20s, right? We don't know that that's the case. Superman does not age like us. He could be on Earth for 40 or 50 years at this point by the time he's the Superman we're going to see.
I mean,
and he just could have met Lois a little bit later, but again, he looks like he's in his 20s. He doesn't age like we do.
Yeah, could be a Wonder Woman situation or a Logan, right? I mean, both it's kind of the same thing there. Or I guess it's technically Logan and Sabretooth both have that ability there. But it's who knows? You're right. It could be that that's the case. But I mean, yeah. Either way, I like the fact, again, we talked about this before, that it's in its own universe. It's a established superheroes. People know who superheroes are. They know what they do. They know Superman. They know Batman. They know, maybe they don't. Although I'd have to believe this little group of Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl, they probably know who they are as well. They have suits and attire that match. So I assume people know who they are as well. So it's a well-established thing. And I don't. As Muschietti has talked about, he's the director of Brave and the Bold. He doesn't think that James Gunn's going to bring Robert Pattinson over. Too confusing. One, because they're the same character playing the same role, the same actor playing the same role, would be confusing. And he's not old enough at this point to play who I think the older Batman is going to be. Like we said it before, it's like, man, if Ben Affleck could have played. He did such a good job as an older Batman. He did such a great job.
I think, hate on us, I think he did great as a fuck. Sorry, I gotta stop hitting that mic. Sorry, new mic. I'm trying not to hit it. I think he did great as a older Batman and even as the Bruce Wayne aspect of it. I will say this though, in a other article about Batman, Matt Reeves has come out and said that Robert Pattinson would only come as Batman would only come over to the DCU if it makes sense, right? Well, what we know currently with the DCU timeline, it's not going to make sense. Again, we're going for an older Batman, so Nick's the Twilight, tweeny looking kid that looks like, even though he's I think he's in his 30s now or close, he still looks like a fucking teenager. I mean, at least to me, when you get older, even everybody looks so much younger.
30 and under looks the same. Yeah.
But go ahead.
I would say maybe they'll go the opposite. Instead of de-aging, they'll age him digitally. I don't know.
See, I'd be cool.
Be fucking stupid, but
see, I'd have been cool if you bring in a cool older Batman, a Ben Affleck style older Batman, and you could have brought Robert Pattinson in as Terry McGinnis and do a little Batman Beyond, because eventually he does join the Justice League as well. I think that'd have been cool, but you fucked that up already. You ruined that. Like that's not going to happen anymore. So
perfectly good, and you fucked it up.
Just saying. Anyway. It was working. The Batman story was working.
The Batman story was working.
And you fucked it up. It's cool, though.
The Super Cop story was working. Okay? It was working, and you guys just messed it up.
I feel like James Gunn's like it. It's
Love
cool, though. Like, you fuck up a probably good story. I haven't figured it out yet. Axel Foley style. I feel like that's what's going on here, because like, you have to know that the two Batmans are not going to work together running, especially you're doing Batmans in different times of their lives. Okay. We know from the MCU, as well as a bit of the DC EU / going into DCU, everybody's getting burnt out on the multiverse. Oh, there's all these timelines and we're going to do this cool, epic, everybody merge, right? That's dying, right? People are kind of sick of it already, all right? You used it for years. It's a gimmick. All right, people are done with it. We want to see an established, because we want to see a good DC universe, right? We want to see something that's going to carry us for the next 15 goddamn DC movies and build these characters, right? This whole, we're going to bring in a multiverse. That's okay. Nope, we're done, right? That's not going to be a thing.
I don't like multiverses.
And since I think it'd been a little different if the Joker had done well on the sequel and if other things, but kind of like Mantis had alluded to, saying that, it feels like it almost seems like it was sabotaged. I feel like, and then them pushing back the Batman movie sequel another year, going to 2027, I feel like they are trying to put the nails in the DC EU / Elseworlds coffin, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it could be. I know they slated the Batman movies for 3 of them, but I don't know. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe they're not going to get there. They're going to cut losses until people eventually just forget that those existed. After the Penguin, people stop talking about it. People just be like, whatever happened to those? I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you think about some of the MCU's good shows, even like the WandaVision? A lot of people, it was well received. A couple of those, even Falcon went from. None of those had sequels, right? Or season 2s, right? They were mini series. And that's kind of what I feel like is going to happen with the Penguin. They might do a Penguin season 2 just because the series is popular and not bring out the second Batman. But guys, let us know down in the comments. Do you think they should continue with the Elseworlds timeline? There's been a pretty big outcrying that people agree that Robert Pattinson's Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, should not come into the DCU. They want it to keep separate. But should they even keep running it? Or should they just let it die and start fresh with the Brave and the Bold? How do you feel? Like, should there be a Penguin season 2 but not a second Batman, or should it be vice versa? Let us know. What do you guys think? Right, we'd be curious to kind of.
What would you do if you had the keys of the kingdom? What would you do?
What would you do? Sorry, I'm gonna cut in the fucking Team America song.
Would you do if you were asked to give up your dreams for freedom?
Because it's cool. I don't care if they copyright me. All right. We're not monetized. I can cut in copywritten shit. Who cares? All right. And because I'm willing to do that, guys, what you should be willing to do is give this video a like because we save it to the end. He is going to show you where. All right. You know, nice altar he's got going on there. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our craziness and all the things that we do for you, such as keeping this BS to the very end so we don't bog you down for 3-4 minutes at the very beginning of the video with commenting, liking, subscribing, and clicking the little fucking bell that YouTube makes you, because it can't just be one and undone, right? We got to have 8 different buttons to get you to where you need to be so you continue to see our
YouTube,
videos.
Man.
Fucking YouTube.
YouTube's against us. They're against us.
Hey,
we have to fight back against
Mantis, maybe stop saying things bad about the network.
What are they going to do? Cut our budget? Anyway.
All right, guys. You know what to do. Mantis, do you have anything left?
No.
All right. He is sick. He's been bringing you out these last couple of videos here while he has not been feeling well. So we thank him for joining us on this adventure. And until next time, that is going to wrap it for us here on You, Me, and DC. We will see you then.
Later.